1, 2, 3. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Won't you join us? Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice.
Good to hear you singing.
Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground. Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground. Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground. Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground.
Oh my goodness, thank you for getting us going with this wonderful, uplifting music. Shall we thank them again? Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa. My name is Nancy Reynolds. I'm a member and former trustee, and I love sharing my Sunday mornings with all of you. Thank you for being here. If you're joining us for the first time, I'd especially like to welcome you. And I'd like to welcome the children who are joining us today. Do you know that children are welcome in our sanctuary? And we also have a family room if families would like to bring their young children and be there. Children can also stop by the coloring table outside in the social hall and pick up something on which they can create their masterpiece. And if you would like your child's crayon art masterpiece to be hung on our bulletin board, we would love to share that with our community as well. I'd also like to thank our live stream viewers for joining us this morning. We are so grateful that you come each Sunday and also watch us online throughout the week. Live stream viewers, if you have a moment and would like to share what we're offering at the center with the world, look for that little share button and you can pass this on to your friends and family. And we can get the Science of Mind teaching out to the world and share that love with everyone. If you'd like more information about what's going on at the Center for Spiritual Living, you can stop by our website, cslsr.org. There you'll find the Sunday Bulletin, which has a list of everything that's happening at the center throughout the month, and there's a lot happening at the center. When you go to the website, scroll down that homepage until you find the picture of the typewriter, and that'll take you right to the Sunday Bulletin. And if you're new and in the sanctuary with me this morning, I'd like to invite you to stop by the information table where you can pick up a pamphlet called What We Believe. You can also email Linda Han, and she can send you a digital copy of that, which is especially helpful for our online viewers. At the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa, we are motivated by a vision of a healthy, loving world. It's called the Global Vision. And it calls us to imagine, if you would, a world that works for everyone. Let me read a line from that vision for you. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. We follow this vision through 5 core spiritual practices of our teaching. If you'd like, please read them along with me. Spiritual study, affirmative prayer, meditation, selfless service, spiritual circulation. And now we have a special announcement. Our center uses flowers to send messages of love to one another. Today's flower dedication is for Mike Mulvihill. Happy heavenly birthday to a wonderful friend, husband, and father. Bless you. I know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, the prayer, the practices, and the message from Dr. Edward, you'll find exactly what you need for the next step of your spiritual journey. You are very welcome here. Now please enjoy some music, then a short time of silent contemplation before our opening prayer.
God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my
inside the earth. God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth. God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om Shanti,
in this oh so special coming together by divine appointment, there is this recognition of that one power and presence always here, 100% through all of life, through all of nature. What a glorious time to recognize the wonders of this flawless coming together with such spectacular beauty of all of nature, of each and every person, no matter where, of all of the trees and the mountains, and oh yes, the animals, for God also is present in fur and feather and fluttery things. All is God, and all is just beautiful. And I'm recognizing that nature is what I am. I am so connected with everything because God is the designer of each one. This individualized projection, each one here, we are so connected with knowing that every single one of us is a wonderful and divine expression of that one. So in this coming together, we can recognize that God is changeless. We may call it life, we may call it spirit divine, we may call it creative intelligence. It is still changeless no matter what word we use to describe it. It is life, and it gives us the gift of being able to change. God has created for us out of its wonderful givingness this magnificent canvas with all the technicolor that we choose to make of our lives. And so this day we can choose to make a change, to paint a new portrait on that canvas, knowing that God is with us, stands beside us, leads our way 100% of the time in all ways. So I give great thanks today for knowing this, for having the ability to make changes that benefit my life and the life of all of humanity, of all of nature. What a fabulous gift. And so I give thanks for knowing this, for feeling it, for being it. And I release my word, and we can say together, and so it is. Good morning. My name is Sherry Poole. I am a spiritual guide and prayer practitioner here at the center, along with so many others, and it is wonderful to see you all. Please join me in reading this morning's affirmation. The furry, the fuzzy, the slimy, the scaly, and everything else. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the name of the talk. I think I should look over my shoulder. I embrace all of life, including the fuzzy, furry, and tiny. And so it is. I'm so glad God has a great sense of humor.
Knew a boy who wasted time on foolishness and useless rhyme. I heard him say he thought that trees could talk. Well, if they did, what would it mean to hear beyond our day's routine? I'm not sure we take the time to stop, to listen, but in these branches live our dreams, wild ideas and crazy schemes, the wisdom of a million fruitful years. Love unfolds in gentle leaves, reveals the truth that lies beneath, protecting all the souls that we hold dear. If only we could see our way clear, to listen. Seems that listening's lost its style. We haven't stopped in quite a while to smell the sweetness of a rose. If we can't see and we won't hear long enough to face our fears, we can't learn what dreams would have us know. Now the boy is grown and wise, he's learned to live with compromise. He's looking back on years and taking stock. He thinks of what his life's been missing and knows if he just tries to listen, late at night the trees will start to talk. The wind will blow and trees will softly talk. Will we listen? Listen, oh, listen.
Thank you very much, Christopher Fritchie and Claire Victor and our wonderful band, Brett, Nick, and Tina. Thank you for warming up our hearts for the message this morning. Hello. Good morning, beautiful people of the center. I am so appreciative that you are here and here online. I can't see your faces online, but I can see your faces here. And you know, some of you, well, you've known me since I was a boy. You know, we've been traveling together for 30 years almost. And through thick and thin, good times and bad times, and I look around and I see so many faces that I know, and it feels like home. And then I see faces that I'm getting to know. They are new here. Welcome. You know, our world has been moving through a pandemic, in case you didn't know. And it's a world issue, one that has touched all sentient beings, one way or the other. Whole nations have been quarantined and cut off from each other, communities chopped up and divided. And 2.5 years later, we're still wrestling with how do we understand this and respond to it spiritually. What do we do? What do I do with all the feelings that range from scared, afraid, angry, frustrated, confused, all the things that we experience and have been experiencing for a long time, it seems. Here's a story that may be familiar to you, and in it there is a metaphor that I think is helpful, at least it has been for me. Once upon a time, the students of an enlightened teacher were crossing the sea in a boat. The students were surprised by a fierce storm that churned the sea up. All on board had to work really hard to keep the boat afloat in the fierce waves and in the vicious wind. The unrelenting weather wore away their courage, until at last they began to lose heart. And the storm on the outside caused fear to enter their minds and spread like dread. In their panic, they seemed to be forgetting the lessons that their teacher, their spiritual teacher, had given them about the power and the supremacy of inner peace. It's understandable, after all. Waves were crashing, the wind was howling, and things didn't look like there was any peace anywhere. Were they so wrong to assume that their life's path would be made safe if they followed the teaching? In their panic, they approached their teacher and found him asleep with his head on a makeshift cushion in the stern. Alarmed at his apparent disinterest in the imminent danger, they woke the sleeping teacher and asked, "Don't you even care that we are perishing?" When the teacher finally was roused from his nap, he said to the students and to the waves, "Peace, be still." And immediately the wind quieted down and the ocean returned to its former state of calm. Now, the metaphor in this well-known story from the Christian tradition is, to me, that there is a presence that is quietly, calmly at rest in the stern of the boat. Meaning deep within my consciousness, in yours. A presence that is beyond the reach of bad weather or unexpected or undesired changes in circumstances. I like the way Thomas à Kempis describes it when he wrote, "O Lord God, thou holy lover of my soul, when thou comest into my soul, all that is within me shall rejoice. Thou art my glory and the exaltation of my heart. Thou art my hope and refuge in the day of my trouble." Had I not learned what I learned at Centers for Spiritual Living about that presence within me, and had I not had the example of great teachers and mentors, and had I not had the company of spiritual community, I too would have found it very difficult to believe, at times just like these and others, that there was such an inner refuge to which I could return, no matter how the outer storm was raging. But I did learn about it like you and I did. I learned about an inner presence, and even though I may be like you too, forget it sometimes, and maybe you, like me, will sometimes become derailed by fear or frustration, I trust with you that there is still nothing more powerful than this inner presence to connect us and to guide our choices and to deepen our faith in each other wherever we might be, and to give us the courage to declare that this world is nevertheless a beautiful and holy place to be in because of each other. We may not be the same when this pandemic is done. But what will be the same is our freedom to, number one, learn from our history or to repeat it. Two, the freedom to grow even closer to each other or to let the troubled times drive us apart. Three, the freedom to awaken even more to that presence within, or to be rocked gently back to sleep. Our theme for this month is nature. And I'm thinking about the author Charles Eisenstein, which I shared with you once before, talking about how he felt waves of helplessness and grief when the Amazon forest was on fire some 3 years ago. And he asked the question, what do you do with all of that grief energy? What do you do with it? And he concluded for himself that these are real and honest feelings, and they can also function like a trap, a diversion, a detour that can make a person less capable, less helpful. The challenge, Michael says, and I agree with him, is that even when we successfully overcome an issue, and I trust we will with this pandemic, we are, other issues will arise to take their place. Because what hasn't changed is reality, and also the mindset in us that causes some of the issues. Now, being a religious scientist, and that's what we call ourselves here at Centers for Spiritual Living, a religious scientist. Being a religious scientist calls us to a very specific type of response to personal and world challenges. Our spiritual practice is to work inside our mindset. We call it our consciousness, and to create and develop a new attitude and a new response to the challenges. And that is something all of us can be part of individually. And it was especially true during those times when we were asked to shelter in place. That was something we could do, is work in our consciousness. Now, you know as well as I do that some people did not have the option of staying home safely. I'm thinking of our first responders, medical professionals, law enforcement officers, and I'm thinking also of the shelterless. And today I'm thinking about the 22 million people in the Horn of Africa who are at immediate risk of death by starvation due to drought. And I'm also today thinking of the Ukrainians being bombed by a hostile neighbor. You see, I'm thinking today about people for whom working in consciousness and contemplating peace may seem out of reach. A luxury that they can't afford. So for those of us who can, perhaps taking time to be still, to generate an inner atmosphere of peace and collaboration and compassion and harmony and kindness will always be important. Somebody may be depending on it, especially if it leads us to generous and compassionate action. In the upcoming weeks, we'll be revealing which nonprofit partners we selected for next year, and I'm so glad that many of them are related to food security. So then, as a religious scientist, my practice is to raise the level of my consciousness and to get to the highest perspective of harmony, love, and collaboration that I possibly can when it comes to world issues. And to do that, I have to put down my grief, my anger, my resentment, my frustration, because it's not effective to take that into the temple of my heart, not if I want to create a solution. And if I'm not ready to put aside my grief and my anger or my fear or whatever it is, or if it's just too overwhelming for me to do it alone, I can get assistance. I could let somebody partner with me, like a prayer practitioner. I could use the spiritual support system available at our center. I could go to the after-service in-person prayer here in the North Wing. And then, when I am ready to go into the temple of my heart, I will discover what you will discover, that there, in that place, is where intuition is, where innate knowledge is. That's where I will find the prompt that tells me what is mine to do in this world. And what is mine to do must be different. It's not going to be the same for each person. I've had to learn that. I've had to learn to trust diversity and complexity, and accept that there are different and conflicting opinions and ideas. I've had to learn to appreciate that it's all part of some unfathomable interconnectedness. I've had to learn how to give up making people do what I want. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Because as you heard, the topic today is about the fuzzy and the slimy and the tiny and the scaly, and of course it's talking about all of creation. But I take it also as an invitation for me and for us to embrace all of life just the way that it is and just the way that it is not. And while I'm doing that, to do what I can, to not let my mind be hijacked by fear. Has your mind ever been hijacked by fear? No? Last week I was in Switzerland for the Center for Spiritual Living Geneva conference for Region 12. Region 12 includes Europe and Africa too. So we had students graduating from Kenya and from Switzerland and from Ukraine, where they traveled far by train and bus through guard posts to come to Geneva to get a certificate for completing a Science of Mind class. Oh my goodness. We were sitting in Geneva in orchards and farmlands, in vineyards, and the farmers in Geneva used shotguns to scare the birds and critters from the farmland. So every now and then you'd hear the blast of a shotgun. And every time the gun went off, I noticed the response in the Ukrainians. And I imagined that sound meant something different to them. It doesn't take a lot for my mind to get hijacked. I remember several years ago, I was scheduled to have a medical procedure that scared me, and I was telling a friend about it, and I noticed I was trying to explain how okay I was with it, but my mind had been hijacked. And so the words started to pour out of my mouth, and I started to speak like a fool at a fast rate, and I realized, oh my God, I'm trying to cover up my fear because my mind had been hijacked and I couldn't even navigate a conversation. And this was not even from a real threat of war. This was a danger my mind was creating. I remember a verse in the book of Genesis, in the creation story, that goes like this. It's about creation. The Creator said, "Let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures." The slimy, the big, all of them. Let them swarm with swarms, which makes me think of how my mind is when it's hijacked. Swarming with swarms. Not just one swarm. Swarms of swarms. I'm going to love that phrase because to me it describes, the beautiful and the infinite capacity of the mind to do what it does. Swarm. And of course, the swarming takes place in the ocean. which is a symbol. The ocean is a symbol of something. It is a symbol of the still, deep, peaceful, ever-present, undisturbed presence, which at the same time includes and can have swarming. So what are you going to do when your mind swarms with swarms? Well, my first suggestion is don't fight it. Take a pause and watch the mind doing what it does. Swarm. And then look for the place where you are okay at the same time. And then my second suggestion is this. To find that place where you are okay, look into the silence of your heart space, because that is the place where you are okay. And when you look into there, something will happen. Christopher Fritchie will remember this, that many years ago I went to South Africa to visit my mother. And I went early, ahead of the crowd. We were going to take 40 members of the community to Bali, and I had made a meeting spot with Christopher. We were going to meet in Hong Kong, head to Bali after my trip to my mother. So it was all planned out. So in Johannesburg, I drove to the airport on my way to Hong Kong in my rental car at 10 p.m., just before the rental car office closed. And I got to turn in the car, and then I went to the Cathay Pacific check-in counter, and it was pitch black. I had missed the flight. It was 11 a.m., not p.m. And here come the swarms. I'm stuck in a rapidly emptying airport in one of the most dangerous cities in the world, and I have no car, and I'm going to die. The effect of being in a swarm is that you can't see. Have you ever been in a swarm? In Africa, where I grew up, sometimes we would be overrun by swarms of locusts. They would come. And you learn plenty quick. You better close your mouth. And if you're going to run, be careful, because if you gasp for air, they're going in. And if you run where you can't see, you're probably going to fall. You learn plenty quick. You got to move, but you got to stay calm. So at the airport at midnight in Johannesburg, I saw my mind a swarm. And I remembered what I had been taught. And I said to myself, take a pause, be still. Notice your mind doing what it does. And then look into your heart space for the place. See if you can find the place where you are okay, and ask, am I okay? Even in the presence of danger, even when I don't want to be where I am, even if I'm in pain, find the place, I'm telling myself, where I am okay. The psychiatrist David Viscott described it so well, saying, within you is an island of sanity, your best self. It is a source of power, a reservoir of strength. Your best self is found in, listen to this, your best self is found in acceptance, nurtured by simplicity, and maintained in vulnerability. My best self, or my inner sanctuary, is found in acceptance. Remember, don't fight it. Let things be as they are. Nothing more, nothing less. Then my best self is maintained in vulnerability. That means admit it. Yes, I'm afraid. And then watch the swarm. You see, because the voice of the swarming mind is this: you're going to die here. You're going to not get what you want. You're going to lose. You're going to be left. You're going to miss out. You're going to. But the best self, or your inner sanctuary, has a different voice. And in Johannesburg that night, mine said, walk, knock, go to the rental office. You're okay. Nothing's happened. And so I did. I went into the dark building of the rental office and knocked on the door, and don't you know, one of the employees was still there, and they let me in. They let me get the car. I managed to get to Hong Kong a day late. Nothing happened. Number one, when the mind is a swarm, don't fight it. Notice it. Number two, when the mind is a swarm, look into the place of your heart where you are okay. And then number three, recognize a swarm for what it is, a surge of mental and emotional activity. And once you recognize it for what it is, that's when you and I can realize that there is already something inside of us that is aware that swarming is possible. It knows it. And this something inside that recognizes a swarm for what it is not a swarm. It watches it. And then right there, that's where we can begin to disconnect from the form, from the effect of the swarm, and begin to not listen to its temptation, because it's not the swarm that's dangerous, it's when I believe its voice. So who is it in me and in you that notices the swarm? What is it? Our founder, Ernest Holmes, describes it as a friend within who is closer than your shadow. A friend that anticipates your every desire and knows your every need and governs your every act. A friend that is the presence within your soul that animates you. The friend that is infinite, not limited by previous experiences, nor by present conditions or passing situations. I also like how he describes that presence as the silent witness of my soul. There is that within me that is a silent witness of my life. Witness. See, the word witness implies distance. Distance between what is seeing and what is being seen. Something that observes and notices but doesn't participate. Something that has no fascination with positive or negative, cannot be convinced, cannot be won over, cannot be torn apart. I'd like to pause for a moment and ask you a personal question. You don't have to answer out loud. Why do you come to the Center for Spiritual Living? And however you answer that, and it's going to be different for all of us, I'm inviting you to add something to your answer today, and it's this. That there is a part of you, a witness, that sees your wholeness. And that part of you isn't on a path of evolving. It does not get better and it doesn't improve because it is in its original condition. And it walked into the room with you and does every time you come. Like David Viscott said, within you is already an island of sanity. It's a source of power, a reservoir of strength. Now, I started off early on talking about Michael Eisenstein, and he made a beautiful video when the Amazon was burning those several years ago, speaking from his grief. And he made a beautiful request to us that is applicable even now. He ends his video by saying, "Please do not take the bait offered that comes with life's tragedies and challenges. The bait that diverts us to hatred and blame. Do not get caught up in it. Do not get caught up in despair. It's not that these aren't real and deep feeling responses. There are normal human responses for caring, but right now, as agents of change, we need each other's strength. Not to wage war, but to stay loyal to what we know in our hearts, to stay open to the prompting of spirit within, to develop a childlike optimism, to trust that there is a larger intelligence operating in life, an intelligence that is not separate, but one that runs its holiness through us when we turn to it, one that knows where and how to use you and me to reveal its wholeness." I invite you to breathe in with me, so that in a moment of prayer we may contemplate that presence that is in our heart space. And let the next breath you take be deeper than the one before, so that as we exhale, we may become present to the activity of the room. I started off this morning by thanking you for being here wherever here is, and I want to end that way by thanking you for being here. And especially I want to thank those people who have responded to the news of our financial challenges with generosity and kindness and humor. I have received so many cards from the landlord. And for those of you who don't know what I mean, I said a few weeks ago that we don't have a landlord to go to when there's a leak in the roof, and we are the landlord. And so I have received so many cards from the landlord that I feel a renewed courage and sense of hope. And so to the landlords, thank you for responding with your kindness and your generosity. Indeed. There are so many ways to contribute. We'll take them all. And so if you want to know how you can contribute to our center, you just reach out to any staff member. Of course, we have our text to give. I forget what order these slides are in. Yeah, but there's our text to give. And if you can't remember that number, it goes too fast or it's too many numbers, we've got cards that you can take them home, even put in your wallet. The good thing is once you've entered it into your smart device, you don't have to remember it anymore. And is there another slide about giving? No, okay, I'm a little bit out of touch. I may still be jet lagged. Well, you know who isn't out of touch? Our host this morning, Nancy Reynolds, and she's going to come and share some announcements with us. Welcome, Nancy.
It's very kind of you to say I'm not out of touch. Because I get that swarmy thing too.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's going on. You can join Reverend Russ at 8 p.m. Pacific time every Sunday night as he shares the peaceful music of his guitar meditation. Each short meditation is dedicated to affirming peace in all parts of the world experiencing conflict. The stream is posted on Facebook and YouTube, so you may join the service of your choice. And if you don't catch it live, don't worry, because it's retained on Facebook and YouTube, and you can go back and watch that at any time. What you'll do is go to our website and look for the picture of the guitar. Our wonderful seniors group, the third act, gives the seniors in our community an opportunity to share their ideas, their joys, and their concerns. It's also a space to go deeper into the spiritual journey together. The group meets via Zoom. That's tomorrow, August 22nd, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. And you can join that by looking for the photo of the smiling seniors. Here's something for all of us who like to eat and who get our groceries at Oliver's. Did you know that if you sign up for an Oliver's community card, every time you shop, Oliver's will give 3% of your purchase to our center? The next time you're in an Oliver's store, you just ask your cashier how to sign up. And here's the important part. Designate Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa as your beneficiary. Honestly, it makes me want to eat more. Now, there's one more announcement for you, but I'm going to let her tell you about it. This is Reverend Cheryl McCreary, here to share an invitation for her upcoming workshop, Manifest More Money. Have a wonderful week.
Hi there, I'm Reverend Cheryl McCreary, the creator and facilitator of Manifest More Money. You know, so many of our New Thought communities, our members are struggling right now about money. They're feeling anxiety and fear and powerlessness with the news and the recession, the inflation, all that stuff. It's very easy to forget the truth. The truth is we live in an abundant universe. The truth is unlimited abundance is our divine birthright. It's time to heal our relationship with money. If that's work that you want to do, I invite you to join me in the online course, Manifest More Money. We'll be meeting on 5 Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we will do a deep dive into spiritual practice and practical actions to help you bust through your money set point, to help you release money blocks and limitations, to change your story into a story of money abundance and flow, and to move into divine right relationship with money. If that sounds like work you want to do, we're going to start off on September 1st. So join me. And the great thing is your center has its own unique registration link. So use that link and that link only, because when you register, 50% of your fee goes back to your center. So we're profit sharing with your center. If you want to join me in Manifest More Money, I look forward to seeing you on September 1st. See you then.
Thank you, Reverend Cheryl. You know, when anybody's teaching classes about money or prosperity, I check a couple of things. Are they generous? Do they walk their talk? And does their life reflect what they're teaching? I can say that I've checked her. She's generous, and she is a practicer of what she teaches. And you might remember she came and taught a class before she became a reverend. And so we have known her in her evolution to becoming a minister of Centers for Spiritual Living, Reverend Cheryl. So I feel like, the funny thing is I've known Reverend Cheryl now for almost 3 years, and I've never met her in person. Isn't that weird? And so now when I do go out to events in Centers for Spiritual Living and I meet people that I haven't met in the flesh, they're always a different height from what I expected, because, on Zoom we're all the same height. So it's a lovely adventure to meet people for the first time. Like, oh, hello, or down there. So one day we're going to get Reverend Cheryl here in person because I adore her. After service today, we have something new. It's our in-person, one-on-one prayer in the north wing. So that means you exit, turn left, and walk alongside the building, and there is what you will find. Very spaciously arranged, so with high ceilings and air conditioning, so it's quite safe. So go and get your one-on-one prayer after service. It's back. Yay. Again, I thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. And now let us close with our benediction. So won't you please stand and say something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, life is in my body, and life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you are guided, sustained, and inspired by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly so that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this presence within. And so it is. Let us close in song.
I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel peace inside. With every breath, peace abides. I know the joy of peace. I choose fear to release. Every moment, love wakes up, and peace is every step. I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel peace inside. With every breath, peace abides. I know the joy of peace. I choose fear to release. Every moment, love wakes up, and peace is every step. Peace is every step. Peace is every step. Peace is every step. Peace is every step.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
What's that?
I thought you were done there. He was like,
I never know.
so go over. Oh, Shanti with me.